My name is Daniel Reed, and I've lived in Westbrook Heights for over 15 years. Tucked at the far end of the cul-de-sac, my house sits on 3 acres of carefully tended land, sloping gently down to a quiet lake. It's not just land to me, it's my sanctuary. Over the years, I poured my time, money, and effort into turning it into a personal haven. Flower beds of native wildflowers, a meticulously laid stone path, an old oak tree I refused to cut down despite suggestions from some neighbors. All of it mattered deeply to me. And then, on an otherwise uneventful Saturday, that peace was shattered. That was the day my neighbor, Clarissa Templeton, hosted a birthday party for her daughter that spiraled out of control. It wasn't just the thumping bass of the music or the cloud of perfume and cologne hovering over the property line. No, it was the 57 cars that turned my carefully manicured meadow into a parking lot. It all started just after noon. I had returned from grocery shopping and found a line of luxury vehicles, BMWs, Porsches, even a Lamborghini, turning down my private drive. At first, I assumed someone had made a wrong turn. But as I slowed and pulled closer, my stomach sank. They were parking on my land. One after another, valets in crisp red vests waved the cars across my lawn, their tires crushing the spring bloom of black-eyed Susans and lavender I planted just a few weeks earlier. "Hey, what's going on here?" I called out as I parked hastily, nearly dropping a bag of groceries in my rush to get out of the car. A valet, barely older than a college freshman, turned to me without the slightest hint of concern. "Oh, we're handling parking for the Templeton event next door." Overflow. I stood there, speechless for a second. Overflow? My property wasn't a public parking lot. Who authorized this? I asked, my voice tight. The HOA. MS. Templeton said it was all cleared. He shrugged and turned back to guiding another car, a brand-new Mercedes SUV, across my lawn. I left the groceries in the car, stormed past my flowering shrubs, and made my way to Clarissa's sprawling mansion. Pink balloons were tied to the wrought iron fence, and a massive banner stretched across the porch. "Happy Sweet 16, Savannah." I barely made it to the door when Clarissa herself intercepted me. Tall, blonde, and perfectly poised in a dress that probably cost more than I made in a month, she flashed a smile that never quite reached her eyes. "Daniel, how wonderful to see you. Isn't it a beautiful day for a party?" "Clarissa," I began, struggling to keep my voice calm. "Why are there dozens of cars parked on my land?" Her smile didn't fade. "Oh, you didn't get the HOA notice? We secured temporary overflow parking for Savannah's party. The board approved it this morning." "What notice?" I asked. Clarissa pulled a crumpled piece of paper from her purse and smoothed it out, pointing to a hastily scribbled signature at the bottom. "President Donnelly approved it himself." I scanned the document. No details on where the cars could park, no indication that I had been contacted or that my permission was granted. "I never agreed to this," I said through clenched teeth. "Well," Clarissa said with a pitying shrug, "the board voted. Nothing you can do about it until Monday." Her dismissive tone lit a fuse in me. Before I could say more, a Porsche Cayenne drove over the edge of my flower bed, flattening the irises I had planted with my niece last spring. I drew in a long, calming breath. Those cars need to be moved. Now. Clarissa's smile thinned. "Daniel, all of Westbrook's elite are here today. Judge Halvorson, Mayor Drake, even Senator Webb's nephew. You don't want to make a scene." I turned on my heel and walked back to my house. That afternoon, and well into the night, I sat in my living room with a laptop open, scrolling through HOA bylaws while laughter and music echoed across the lake. By midnight, I had counted 57 cars parked on my land. 7 were still there when I woke the next morning. The plan? I spent Sunday documenting everything. Tire tracks through my meadow, crushed flowers, broken fence posts, oil stains on my driveway, and trash floating in my koi pond. I took photos of each vehicle, including their license plates. I knew I had to act carefully. I reviewed the HOA covenants again and found Section 8.3.4. A clause that said any unauthorized vehicle left on private property for over 24 hours could be considered abandoned and removed at the owner's discretion after proper notification. Monday morning, I called Donnelly the HOA president. Care to explain why you approved parking on my property without my permission? I asked. Clarissa said you verbally agreed, he stammered, and you were out of town to sign. That's a lie. Donnelly fell silent. After a moment, he mumbled, "We'll figure something out. You have until Wednesday at 5 p.m., I told him. After that, I'll take matters into my own hands. Then I call my lawyer, Rachel. After reviewing my documentation, she confirmed I was within my rights to act under the HOA rules. That afternoon, I printed 7 bright orange notices and placed them on each remaining vehicle. They gave the owners 48 hours to remove their cars or risk them being declared abandoned and disposed of accordingly. Escalation. Word spread quickly through Westbrook Heights. By Tuesday, neighbors were walking past my property, whispering and taking photos of the signs I posted. At 2 p.m., Clarissa stormed across my lawn, designer heels sinking into the soft grass. "Daniel, take down those notices," she demanded. "This is completely unreasonable. These cars belong to important people." "I'm following the HOA rules," I replied, removing my gardening gloves. "And if they're not gone by 5 p.m. tomorrow, I'll treat them as abandoned." Clarissa's expression shifted from outrage to panic. "You'll regret this," she hissed before stalking off. That evening, Donnelly called me again. "Clarissa's offered to cover some of the damages," he said. "But the board wants you to hold off on whatever it is you're planning." "I'm just exercising my rights," I replied. Same as Clarissa. Auction day. Wednesday arrived, shrouded in early morning fog. By noon, the fences I'd rented enclosed each vehicle. Auction signs lined my driveway. The portable podium was in place. The auction website, set up with the help of my college roommate, was live. Over 100 people had already registered to bid on the vehicles. Clarissa showed up at 3 p.m. with her lawyer and Donnelly in tow. She was livid. "You can't do this," she screamed as she saw the auction paddles arranged on the table. "Actually," I replied, "I can." At 4:45 p.m., Sheriff Ben arrived, notebook in hand. After reviewing my documentation, he nodded. "Everything's in order here," he said. Clarissa's daughter Savannah, tears streaking her mascara, begged me not to sell her boyfriend's Porsche. But it was too late. At 5 p.m. sharp, the auction began. Bidding on the Porsche started at $50,000. By 5:15 p.m., it was at $70,000. The settlement. Panicking, Clarissa and Donnelly pulled me aside. "What will it take to stop this?" Donnelly asked. I laid out my terms. Clarissa resigns from the HOA board immediately. The HOA pays for all damages, $7,800, according to my landscaper's estimates. The HOA bylaws are amended to prevent this from happening again. Faced with public humiliation and legal exposure, they signed. Clarissa handed me a check on my front lawn while news cameras rolled. "Smile," I whispered. "It's important to be a good sport." Aftermath. Clarissa and her family moved to Arizona 3 months later. An audit revealed she had misused over $40,000 in HOA funds. Her husband, to his credit, repaid it. 6 months later, we held the annual Westbrook Heights community picnic on my restored meadow. The new HOA president, retired Judge Hamilton, raised a glass to boundaries respected and lessons learned. As for me, I didn't just defend my property. I helped change an entire community. And that, I realized, was worth every second of the fight.